This is really bad. I've always hated breaks, specifically since I started college. See, growing up in elementary and middle and high school, breaks were incredible. You know, endless days where I can hang out with my friends, not really have any obligations, get to do whatever I want. They were the best, and there was no plan. And there didn't need to be a plan. But as I've been continuing in my college journey, breaks just feel totally and completely different. Because now I think I'm kind of realizing I'm an adult, and there are responsibilities even outside of the classroom. Now I know might be late to this realization. I know I'm not the latest though. But I came to this kind of realizing that every break I've had so far in college, I just feel miserable. I really wanted to try and do something different with this break. You know, I wanted to ensure that I was reading every day. Journaling every day. Spending a lot more time with family. I'm really sorry, Mom, I can't tonight, I'm busy. And all that lasted a good 3 days. But you know, with work continuing and there not being classes to go to or that much else to keep you accountable, it's really easy to just kind of let yourself go and be lazy. Or maybe it's a me thing. You know, during the semesters, I am constantly working on something and I'm constantly working towards something. There are deadlines to meet, there's projects to finish, there's grades to be anxious about, and there's sleep to lose. I am a college student, I'm a philosophy major, and my dream is to become a philosophy professor, and that's gonna take a long time, and a lot of work. And I think at this point in time, I just wanna keep doing it until I get there. And that's why breaks feel so shitty. It's like I'm not really working towards something, you know? During these breaks, I just end up doing more hours at whatever job I'm working. And I find myself just doom scrolling in bed for hours on end, eating chips, and totally neglecting my well-being, my health, my environment. You saw my room. But it's like there's nothing keeping me accountable to be taking care of those things. And I think that's all kind of part of the transition from being a kid into an adult. You know, it's one of the weirdest transitions I think a person can go through. I guess gender transformation is probably pretty difficult. It's one of the weirdest transitions I know for now. Especially going through college because, you know, you are an adult, technically, but nobody's really holding your hand anymore. I just got ding-dong ditched. You see what I mean though? Breaks, they allow kids to go out and do stuff and have fun and not have to worry about anything. Why don't I just go ding-dong ditching? But, you know, nobody's holding your hand anymore. But also, you're not totally an adult, you know? You still are a kid in school, essentially. But you still have a lot of adult responsibilities, like needing to make enough money to pay rent and pay for groceries and your gas and your car bill and your phone bill. You know, there's a lot of things that need to be taken care of at this age while you're still kind of a kid. But I guess that's just part of growing up. And you know, that's the transition that a lot of generations before us have made. But it just sucks because it doesn't feel like anybody really talks about it in this way, and how quiet and lonely it can be sometimes. How depressing it can get when you're just letting your room go to shit because nothing's really holding you accountable to change it. But I think during these breaks, it's important more than anything to just remind yourself that you are still working towards something, even if right now it's not your degree or your job. You know, you're still learning these life experiences, like what it's like to be alone a lot more, which is so depressing, but it's also kind of cool to gain that independence. A few things that have really been helping me during this break are doing super tiny things that are ways of showing myself that I'm caring for me, you know? Small stupid stuff like making your bed every day, or making sure that you see the sun within the first 10 minutes of waking up. That one's been huge for me. It always wakes my mind and my body up quick. You know, chugging a glass of water first thing in the morning is huge too. It gets your whole body started, and it's a little win that you can, you know, hold on to throughout the day that hey, I did something this morning. Or making a meal for yourself. This is a thing I've neglected for years. I've worked in restaurants since I was 16, and the last thing that I want to do when I get home is to cook for myself. But it's super important because when you're taking time out of your day to care for yourself in that way, you know, you're taking time to do something to nourish yourself. It's showing your body that you care and that you're taking care of your most fundamental human needs. It's really, really powerful stuff. It's easy to let your room and your space go to shit, but if you just try a little bit, making sure you take your dishes out to the kitchen whenever you're done with them, or picking up trash when you can, it makes a really big difference, and it builds these small habits that I bet are gonna come pretty important in adult life. I don't want to sound like a cringy millennial when I'm talking about this getting older stuff and adulting, but it's true. It's kind of what's happening during this transition. I just wish I was more prepared for what it was like. Something I've really been stressing out about is finances and money stress, and A great thing about still kind of being a kid is that, you know, if you're in a good position, your parents can still help you out, but also there's that part of you that wants to continue to be independent and be independent in that way. But it's hard. It's really, really challenging, especially in this day and age. So even if your parents are still supporting you, you know, pay for half of your car insurance, you know, pay for half of your groceries. Do little things that still make you feel good, but also accept help when you need it. Another thing that's really been helping me is spending time with people and doing things for them. When you're depressed and feeling aimless, it feels totally pointless to go out of your way to do something for someone else, but it's huge. For example, last week I was having a super shitty day, but my girlfriend was starting the first day of her new job, and that was super exciting. And so I decided to go to the store, and I got her some flowers and a balloon and chocolate and her favorite chips. And I surprised her at home when she got off. And she was so happy and so ecstatic about it. And it felt really, really good. Because when you do things for others, obviously it helps them out and it makes them feel good. But also it comes back at you, you know, it gives you a time and a space where you're out of your own mind, you know, and you're thinking about someone and something else for a little while. And it's really relaxing in a way. And you know, with meals, you don't even need to do any Michelin star crap. It can be pizza rolls on a plate with a cup of marinara sauce. That's a meal, baby, and I've eaten a lot worse. But just show yourself that you're caring for yourself. Being outside is super important too. I know everybody talks about this, but its importance can't be overstressed. Even just a little walk. Though it feels super boring sometimes, you know, because we're so conditioned to just doom scrolling and fast content and junk food, and it feels so boring to go for a walk by yourself. But I feel like eventually when you're out there, you kind of get used to it and you learn to appreciate it, you know? You look at trees differently, you know? You look at cars passing you by differently. It comes to be this sort of enlightenment that's really special, and it's a time away from your phone and a time away from the rest of the world. Just doing little stuff like that is huge during these times, and it's been really helpful for me. All this to say, breaks are important. It's a time where we can be away from all of the stressors and the importance of everything and give ourselves time to relax and recover and gear up and come back swinging for the next season. So even if you feel aimless, remember, breaks do have an aim, and you just gotta find ways to use it well. And that's what I'm working on too. And that's what I kind of want this whole video to be about. You know, you could go out and find a million self-help videos on YouTube. That's not what I am. That's not what this is. This is a very selfish thing to kind of help hold myself accountable. I don't think I would have cleaned my room today if it wasn't for this camera. You know, I thought about, what if people did see my room like this? And then it made me want to clean. So thanks for that. Care for yourself. Breaks are important. Use them how they're intended. And come back swinging for the next season.